Live from Las Vegas, Nevada. You're watching Shaking It Up with the Sharks. Starring Johnny Richardson and Katie Meadows.
Welcome back, folks. Another episode of Shaking It Up with the Sharks. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be out of control because we have an amazing guest with us this evening, Miss Carley Rae with the Rae Group. Unbelievable realtor out here in Las Vegas. And you will notice there aren't many realtors we bring on this show, so she must be something special.
Very true.
Definitely. Rock and roll.
I feel honored. Thank you.
Definitely. So she's doing big things out here in Vegas. She's blowing up the scene. So she's making moves, making big things happen. A really interesting fact. She's a single young lady, and I'm not putting her out there for all you guys to start calling her anything like that. She is very selective. But she has an amazing operation of additional single women that are just empowering each other, making big things happen, just crushing it 100%.
Hey.
So how are you, young lady?
Doing good.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful view. It's a great night. Happy to be here. Yeah.
Very nice. We're happy to have you.
Yeah, it's great.
Very nice. Good stuff. So really, more than anything, if you haven't watched this in the past, we really like to get in and get to know somebody and kind of like, I'm curious, how'd you get into real estate?
Oh, funny story. So, single mom, I had 2 kids. I ended up getting back into like the casino business. So I started
Were you doing like a slot attendant or blackjack dealer?
Cocktail waitressing?
Pretty much. So hostessing, cocktail waitressing, moved up to being like a food and beverage server at Caesars actually. And the job that I left, it was like the first time in my life I was like making $100,000 a year. So a lot of people I think don't understand that don't live in Vegas, like how much money you make at a fine dining restaurant, because you would get like, oh, you're so pretty, what a shame you're a server. And I'm like, I probably make more money than your son that has a degree, you know? So it's like an ongoing joke, but it wasn't a life worth living. You were a slave to the casino. And so I had peaked in real estate just a little bit and thought it was going to be a hobby. I'm like, oh, if I sell like 1 or 2 houses, maybe I can take more time off, because I had high seniority and I didn't realize that you had to be a full-time realtor to be successful in real estate. So I worked both my Caesars job and my first year in real estate. It was full-time for both. So 40 hours, 5 days a week, and then real estate, 40 hours, 5 to 6, 7 days a week. And then December 12th, 2017, I gave my resignation, and I never looked back. So it was great. I did 24 transactions my first year.
Oh, wow.
Good for you.
Working full time, having 2 kids, it was a lot, but I was very like motivated to have a better life for myself and for the kids.
How long did you say you did both jobs for?
A whole year.
Wow.
So from January, well, I guess not quite. So December 12th. So like almost a full year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
What restaurant in Caesars?
So I started at Bobby Flay's. I ended at Mr. Chow's, so Beijing cuisine. It's like a world-renowned restaurant, and we'd have a lot of celebrities. We had a lot of fun. And I was the only female captain, so that was probably where like my female empowerment came from, because in 50 years of the company, they had never had a female captain.
Oh, wow.
And so they had to have like this custom jacket made for me in Italy and stuff, because everything else was like man size, way too big. And
really?
Yeah, it was good.
That's pretty impressive.
That is impressive.
You know, as far as a lot of times when it comes to somebody in sales or great at serving, it was the worst job I ever had. I actually feel sorry for people that had me as a server when I was back in New Jersey. I did 100%, because one, all the girls, there's a lot of female servers there, is Bonefish Grill back in New Jersey. As I'm finding stuff on the computer, the line would pile up behind me because I could never find on the screen.
Johnny would tell them they didn't have half the items that were on the menu.
Yeah, so they would come, so I'd come to the table and they're like, well, can I have the steak like this? I'm like, no, how does it say you can have it? And they're like, well, it says this, but I like this. I'm like, whatever it says, that's what you're getting. And, or God forbid, if they wanted wine, I could never find that on the computer. And he's like, what about a bottle of wine? I'm like, yep, we're out. Nothing. Nothing.
I was the worst server ever, and then I heard Johnny's story. I'm like, he's for sure the worst server.
And as a server, you dive for like the bottles of wine and champagne. That's how you bring up your tips and everything else. I couldn't find it. I'm like, oh, this is not worth my time. When I would end the night, I'd be so surprised that I was actually tipped.
They felt sorry for you.
I guess.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, they actually left me extra money. This is so cool. I must be doing something right. I'm like, it was horrible. Every table, it never got easy. Every table, I'm just like, oh, here we go again. Here we go. Oh, this is horrible. This sucks every second of it. I did well get my real estate license back in New Jersey, but not a fun job for me. And that's where I thought in the back of my head, watching Cocktails and movies like that, I'm like, oh, I'd love to be a bartender. I got my first taste of it because you kind of deal with the computers and the orders. I said, I'll never want to be a bartender.
I actually came from Bellagio before. I was doing Bellagio cocktailing and was doing real estate for like 6 months before I quit. So what really gave you like the push of when you were like, this is it?
My oldest, who just turned 9, was going to be going into kindergarten that fall. And so, you know, when they are not in school and you're home with them during the day and you work at nights, you get their best hours, if you will. You get the morning and the lunch and the playing and everything. And then, you know, I just wouldn't put him to bed. And so knowing that he was going to go into kindergarten and he'd be gone all day and then I'd be gone all night and that I would barely see him maybe 2 days a week, I think it came down to like I was paying someone else to put my kids to bed. And that's not why I had kids. And so that's probably what the biggest push was. I knew he was going into kindergarten and I knew that I wanted to be the one putting him to bed and doing the homework and the bedtime.
Of course. Makes sense.
So besides running the real estate company, also at the same time, you're like at the kitchen table doing homework every night?
It's a disaster. Don't come to my house at dinner time. It's going to be a disaster.
It sounds crazy.
Yeah, so I mean, and that's probably like one of the things that has bonded like my team specifically, because they are all females, is we all but 2 are moms. You know, most of us are single moms. And so what does it mean to like, you're running the pony show at night? You've got the homework and the dinners, and you've got your dog running around. Your house is a disaster. You've got your client because they want to write an offer, of course, on a house, and then you've got something else going on, and your emails got, you know, 50 emails in between, you know, 5 and 7, and I mean, it's a lot, but to like being in food and beverage, like you're used to that. In cocktails, you're used to that. You're used to dealing with so many people that are needing you and demanding you, and then you're prioritizing, okay, this person needs this, and this person needs an order, and that person needs a check, and over here. And so you're in your mind, you're constantly going through that roller coaster of what's happening here. And it's a perfect segue into real estate because you have your own roller coasters. And like, how are you going to manage that? So like for me, it's like, that's my roller coaster at night. I, you know, preface it with my clients and just tell them like, hey, I got 3 monsters at home. So between this time and this time, you know, I'm not always like immediately available. If not, here's my assistant's number, here's this. Like, I do the best that I can. But I think they respect me for setting those boundaries because they know, you know, there's little people being fed and homework being done. And
can't be mad at that.
I know, so.
Have you ever had somebody get frustrated with it?
I have. That was probably like the biggest thing of when people talk about like, what's your New Year's resolution, was choosing better clients that valued me and valued my time and that I am a mom, you know, and I am like, that's why I do real estate. To like live a life for my kids and to leave a legacy and to provide them a life that I wanted. And if you can't value that about me, then I'm okay with saying no to you. So I've had to fire clients in the past, and it's very liberating to say, you know what, I choose who I work with. And I drop the mic.
Are we still okay, Mike? Mike, we're good with the mic, right?
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Maybe not.
You want us to fix it or?
Hold on one second.
Did it break?
No.
Do you want me just to sit on it?
Good.
I'm okay.
There you go. Good to go.
There we go.
So there's some that you had to hire. You had to fire in the past. And most realtors out there, they're just begging for that one client or those 2 clients. They can never think about firing them. But you set up those boundaries. You said, this is it. I'm a mom, number 1, real estate agent, 2nd, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, 100%. And what about as far as building the team? Where did that come into play? Was that really quick as far as bringing on your first teammate, or was that something that developed throughout time?
So I actually came from a team. So my very first 2 years was I had a mentor. I was on a team. There was things that I absolutely loved about being on a team, and there was things that just didn't work with me anymore as I grew into my own person and what that meant about being like, I'm a high D, high I. So if you've ever taken a DISC test, very controlling, but I'm funny at it. So it's like, you know, what are we doing here? So let's see here, April of 2019, I was out of my contract and I always knew that I wanted to start a team. On my previous team, I guess, when I was a team agent, I had started a mini team. So I had 3 agents that were already working for me under someone else's name. So that was kind of cool. So I was kind of used to that. I started with 1 or 2 agents. I think the hardest part when building a team was understanding who I was, the value that I brought, and who did I want in my organization. Because like that's my name on the door. So if you're not aligning with like how I think or how I do things or my reputation, like that was very important to me. So I would say we had an agent, we had a couple that we had to let go. I mean, it just didn't work out. And then November of that year was when it was kind of boom, we went from having 1 team agent to now we have 11 in less than a year.
And what year was that?
So it was end of November of 2019 to, I guess, January of this year. We went from 1 to 11.
Yeah.
So.
And you said it's all women. Did that just happen, or have you had men approach you to be on your team too?
So at first,
sounds like a great spot for a man.
I know, that's what I'm thinking.
I mean, like I'm
like
looking for an
thing.
assistant position.
Exactly.
I'm kind of considering applying.
I know, and they're really good looking if you haven't seen our headshots. So I think it started on accident, and then it worked. And then, and like I said, there's just something about like being in cocktails, you know, or even in server. You could be beautiful and smart and intelligent, and certain men would still just think that you're a piece of ass.
Yeah,
I don't know if you're allowed to cuss on here.
No, you're fine.
Okay,
Okay.
you're fine. I don't know if it's censored or not. You know, and that like bothered me because, you know, I have a lot to offer. I have a lot of value, and I'm not just a pretty face.
Yeah,
You know, I was really good in school, and just because, you know, I had kids young, and I think that's part of it too. Like, oh, you had kids young, there must be something about that. No, I had kids young, and I'm an adult. I had to grow up fast. And, you know, I have a daughter, so my middle one's a daughter, and I think as like our team started to build, it was like, I had had a 3rd baby, and I was body shaming myself, and my daughter started doing it at 5. Oh, look at this, I think I'm fat, I think this, and that was me talking.
Yeah.
And it's amazing like how the people in your life, or the little people that are looking up to you, you are their end all be all. And so when you're saying negative things, or that you're perceiving what life is like this, they take that as truth. And so I started, okay, if I'm gonna own a company, I'm gonna turn it around and show my daughter, she's stunning, you know, she's like half Cuban, so she's gonna be a fireball, but she's beautiful, and she's very smart, and she's very witty. And like what it meant to me to be a classy, independent, respected woman in a town where we're not perceived that way.
Yes.
And a lot of people think when you walk in a room and you have a pretty face, like, that you're not in charge. And it's like, I teach contract classes for the state of Nevada. Like, I'm actually the one running the show. I'm not sitting in here and like taking the class, and you know, there's some like power to that. And to other women that maybe don't have that voice, or that have been overstepped or been put in a box that they didn't want to be, but they don't have anyone to pull them out of that box, like finding that voice within them they don't even know what they're capable of. And every girl, I feel they need that, whether it's a partner or a spouse or a mentor, someone that sees them before they see themselves, and then they pull that out, and then it's amazing what can happen. Yeah. So.
Hit the soft spot on Katie.
It did.
Yeah.
So you teach contract classes for the state? I didn't know that.
I do.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Is that down at the division, or what does that look like?
With like Key Realty.
Okay.
And at my brokerage, I've been like, any whether it's Studio Zone, taking DBAs, listing agreements, purchase agreements, like so I have a lot of free classes. You can get CE credit.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, that's pretty cool. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
Well, that's a perfect person to say we're
know.
sign off on this.
You have to be there the full time.
You can edit that part out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There you go. Thanks.
So.
That's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
you do quite a bit. It's only 2017. Like, what are we, 2021? I mean, for my, like, between days, weeks, all that just blends in together anymore. But that's amazing. Between that, bringing up to a team 11, and you've pretty much just, going back to what you're saying, you just attracted these women.
Yeah.
It wasn't like you did it intentional. Am I correct?
Correct. We never put out an ad. We never said we were interviewing. I would get like sly DMs. So at first it would be like on your story, oh wow, your team is great. Oh wow, you guys do a lot of transactions. Oh, what company are you with? Hey, are you hiring? Can I meet you? And we had a lot of people from just social media that were seeing kind of what we were doing out in the community, and we do a lot with charities and stuff too. And I think that just attracted the right person and that's I think where the women team came in, is like we're having these people that were referred to us or that they just found us, and and granted there's been a lot that we've interviewed that haven't been a good fit, and that's okay, because there's a type of woman that works on my team and there's a type of woman that does not. And going back to being in the food and beverage, like, you're aware of both. And the people that we want are selfless, and they're the type, like in the service industry, so say that you're drowning, I go up and say, hey Johnny, can I get that table for you? I know that you're stressed out. Or hey, can I go get those drinks? I see that you're overwhelmed, you just got triple sat. That's the type of person that's on my team. Those that can jump in and help.
Team player.
Total team player. And they are happy when women win. Like, that's probably the biggest thing. Is we have a girl that, like I said, opened a bunch of escrows when we were in Mexico, and like our group text of, oh my gosh, great job, so proud of you, congratulations, let's go out and celebrate. It wasn't, oh, where did they get that lead? Did you give that to them? Why am I not? None of that exists on my team. And so it's pure and it's exciting.
Good for you.
How big do you want your team to grow?
So that's a question I think I get asked a lot. I never intended to be larger than 5, and then I never intended to be larger than 10. And I think it's like God ordained, and I'm gonna say that openly because I feel like if people are going to be attracted to us and we can bless and help their lives, whether that's personally, professionally, building their own teams, like, then they have a place for, on our team. So yeah.
That's awesome. Good for you.
I know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Just go and do. What's your goal for? What do you see the team doing over the next year?
So probably a year from now, I see us probably like 250, 300 transactions. Probably have grown to like 15 plus, to be honest. Maybe larger. I don't know. I would love to open up in a couple other markets and kind of launch and find someone that's like me that can like be a team lead in other areas and kind of grow across the nation. We're in the process of putting together like a Women Who Move page for realtors that are women or men that want to join, that like, what is your struggles? Because it's not just like our team, we talk about real estate, but hey, this is what's going on with my kid or my spouse. This is, I have a lot of conversations with, hey, I'm doing really well and now my boyfriend or my fiance, like, they're feeling very neglected. So we have those conversations of, okay, let's talk about that. Let's bring them in and let them know that there's still a value. What you're doing is making you fulfilled, but them supporting is that you need that.
Oh, wow.
And so we have a lot of those talks too. Or, oh my gosh, my kid talked back to me and this happened and my kid got an F in math. Like, how do we coach between that? Because it's not just real estate, it's life.
Of course.
And kind of working through all that too.
Yeah, it all blends into one.
It does. No, it totally does. So.
Are you going to bring that into speaking events as well?
That's
that
the
your
goal.
idea?
Yeah. So my super nerdy. I was a debate nerd in high school and college, so I love public speaking. So yeah, I think my vision is, I have a very unique story of how I got where I am, and if I could get, let's say, on stage to thousands of women that maybe they don't have my story, but they have their own. And if I could touch someone and maybe inspire someone to grow their real estate business or grow who they are, or maybe just heal some wounds that they didn't know that like needed to be healed, that's the power that I want to bring to like Las Vegas, to our West Coast, to the, across the nation, like that type of power that every woman deserves to have.
Man, that's amazing. Good for you. That's rock solid. Is this group already open? Like, is it a Facebook group, or you're just in the beginning stages?
It's in the beginning stages. We have a bunch of content that's being put on it. We're probably going to launch it July 1st. That's kind of the goal.
It will be a Facebook.
It'll be a Facebook group, so we'll open it up to people that they can invite people to, and it'll just be kind of a safe space. Like, hey, I'm writing a contract and I'm nursing a baby, and then this happened. Like, who's been through that? I have, and this is what I did to get through it. Or, how do I make my husband a priority? Like, I had to book him as an appointment in my calendar like it was a buyer consultation. And guess what? I didn't forget. Something like that. So
that stuff works. It definitely does. No, 100%.
Sure.
So, is it going to just be real estate people, or is it going to be outside of that as well?
We're going to open it up to, so Women in Move, I feel like that's a very just like, are you moving? Are you a man that moves, that connects to a woman who moves? Like, it doesn't matter. I think just for me, it's like, I feel some of my clients that are most connected to me are those that were raised by single moms, those that have sisters that are single moms, and they know.
Relatable.
They know that struggle, and so they have so much respect. And so, like I said, it's going to be open. It doesn't matter if you're in real estate or not. Definitely we'll be talking about like real estate content and, but our job, it could be any, let's say, product. Maybe you're selling pool equipment. you have a product that you're educating people about. We have a product in real estate that we're educating people about. And so I think that across the board can be very versatile, and hopefully it'll grow a good referral network.
Yeah.
No, 100%.
You know?
That's the first thing, because there was a friend of mine's wife, not as much single moms, but women of empowerment. There was a squad that was running through Vegas. It was called the Mom Squad. And they would have, this was years ago, they would have little hats, and they'd be out there doing their little walkers all the time and all that good stuff. And those big 3-wheeled things and however many babies you put in there, like whatever. It was called the Mom Squad. It was so cool.
That's
pretty cool.
I've always said that when we've had female realtors come in, they're like, what can I do? I'm like, so easy. I'm like, you can do this. Just put your intention into it and go ahead and build something and work with some other people that want something bigger and better.
Absolutely.
So 100%.
Surrounding yourself with the right people.
It definitely does. No, that's super cool. So it's going to be called Women of Empowerment, but guys are allowed in. Is that what you're saying?
So women who move, but guys, it'll be anyone and everyone, however you identify yourself. That feels, that
That's
they
so
could
funny.
find value. Yeah, so July 1st, I'll be sure to send a request over.
Very cool. I'm looking forward to it. That'll be
Yeah,
super
it'll
cool.
be good.
It'll definitely be good.
Yeah.
So you have we've talked a little bit off camera as far as what you're building and the challenges. Kind of give us an idea of some of the challenges you're going through right now and how you deal with them, how other realtors out there can benefit from it.
Yeah, so I think probably the biggest challenges right now is our real estate is ebbing and flowing every couple months. Like, we've been in a seller's market, but what does that mean? Because seller's market in January is different than our seller's market now, which is different than probably what we're going to experience. You know, and we have this anticipation, oh my gosh, there's got to be more inventory somewhere. Maybe they're going to lift, and forbearance finally, they're going to put an end, and we'll get more inventory. It's just, it's not happening. So what's realistic in today? And getting buyers' offers accepted is definitely probably the biggest challenge. And it's not, you can be as creative as you want. I can write a fantastic offer. What are the means of the buyer? And so you can only do with what the buyer is physically capable of. And so we talked earlier that, there's some realtors that have decided, hey, if you can't pay $30,000, $40,000 above, I don't want to work with you. And I know that we share that in common. We don't have that mindset. Like, we're about the longevity of the client. Like, I want to do and go above and beyond to service you today, because I know when I do a great job for you and you do get that home, how much it meant to you. It's gonna be
referral.
Come back tenfold.
Absolutely.
100%.
So
just being a good human being.
At the end of the day.
At the end of the day, I think if you get into real estate for the money, you're going to be out of real estate quicker than you got in.
Yeah, because the money comes and goes.
Because money comes and goes, but relationships, connections, even more so, I would say, relationships with other realtors. And I feel like I have a good relationship. And I tell everybody, I said, they're not our enemy. And the reason being is the person that's going to attract me and hire me is going to be different than you, different than Katie. And that's okay. There's enough to go around. And, so I'm a big believer in creating relationships with other realtors, because if they know you, they know how the person you are, they know, that you have good lending partners and all this different stuff. When my name comes across an offer, you're like, hey, she's a reputable agent, you can tell your sellers, and I do the same thing for, agents that I know that come across, hey, I know this person. I know that they're going to get the job done, because a lot of people can write a good offer, but are they going to execute and are they going to finish? That's
exactly.
That's what it comes down to.
No, 100%. Yeah, working with those good quality people. It definitely. That's why I tell people all the time, real estate is a relationship business. It is. Just the more hands you shake, the more money you make. The more relationships you have out there, the better off you'll do.
Absolutely.
Definitely. Not for nothing, the person that comes into the office says, well, I want to do real estate. And I ask them, I'm like, why do you want to do it? She's laughing. She knows what I'm going to say. Oh, well, I love people and I like houses. I'm like, well, it's kind of, I know. She was one of the ones that said it. I was surprised. But I think you really have to be aggressive and intentionally making relationships on a regular basis.
You do.
You better be putting yourself out there and doing as much as you can for the community, whether it's a mom squad, whether you want to empower people, whether you're going out doing dinners, whatever it is. It is a relationship business all day long.
Find what you're good at and be consistent with it.
Yeah,
because,
100%.
I tell the ladies, it's like, when to lose weight at the gym or whatever it is that you're doing. If you do it for 2 weeks and you're not seeing any results, that's why. You need to do it consistently over and over and over again, and talk to me in 90 days. And then let's see if you lost the weight, or if whatever it is you said isn't working that you tried twice, if that's actually working. Because, you know, that's how real estate is. You have to be very consistent.
Yeah, well, I think that's human nature with people, period. Everything about right now, like technology, super quick, everything you can do with your cell phone. And this is all new. I mean, am I 41 now? I'm like, sitting there, I'm doing the math real quick. Oh, stop it. So when I was 20 and the new iPhones were coming out and everything else, it's only 21 years ago. So, and we weren't open to any of that. And take a look at the progression. Everything is so fast now is what it comes down to. Oh, yeah. And what I'm getting at is people like that instant gratification. It's surrounding us. It's all over the place. We have instant gratification all the time. Heck, go on Tinder if you're single, find a date in 2 seconds, you're out with somebody. Like, whatever. Yeah.
It's so true.
Yeah, it's the truth. It is. Like ordering pizza.
I know.
Yeah. Not that I have to anymore. But it's the truth. So I think people, they just have adapted themselves to where it's like, oh, I've been in the gym for, like you said, 2 weeks, and I'm not getting what I want, so it's like whatever. Or whatever it is across the board, they want things fast. And that also has to do with our client base as well. Yeah. They have information quick now. Yeah. They have it very quickly, whether on any of the other services like Zillow, Realtor.com, you name it, the list goes on and on. Sure. And they're used to that information fast. So if they get somebody that's a part-time realtor, like you said, if you want to do something big, you have to be full-time. The reason why is how else are you going to keep up at the end of the day? Yeah. People want instant gratification. Yeah. They don't have time. They don't have patience. Right. It's either give it to me or move out of the way.
Yeah. By the time you're done with your 8-hour shift, they already found a realtor, wrote off, and probably got accepted.
Yeah, it's the truth.
It's just
people are not going to wait around for you. It just doesn't work that way. Now, the one thing I do believe, there is a way that, just like what you did, you can work real estate part-time at full-time hours. So when I have people come into the office and are like, hey, want to do part-time, I'm like, well, there's a difference between working at Walmart and coming in for an hour a week and working at Walmart and coming in 8 hours a day on top of your shift. Minimum. Yeah, that's just, you went through it yourself. Yeah. That is what it takes to succeed in real estate. And think about it, it's like, how much money does a lawyer make? Doctors, plastic surgeons, the list goes on and on. In real estate, you can either make similar or even more money, but I think the problem is because we get the license so easy that they don't treat it that way. No. We don't go to school for 10 years. Agreed. You know what I mean? So they're like, oh, I'll do it in 90 hours. Sure. I don't have to put a lot into this. Yeah. Right. They think what you have to put into is the same as what they put in their school.
People's mindset is that real estate's so easy, but at the end of the day,
yeah, you practically get a license on aisle 9 in CVS right now. No, not too much at all.
No, definitely. And they don't treat it like a business. So like, when you work for someone else, you clock in, you clock out, you've got hours. It's consistent. You know when you're working, you know when your days off are.
Oh yeah,
with real estate, it's like, oh, I'm gonna get to it next week, and get to next week. And like one thing that I'm making my team read is the 12-week year, and I'm really big on like setting goals for the year, but then breaking it into quarters. Because if you set your goal for, like, say, end of the year, and then it's like April, and you're like, oh wait, but I have 8 months still, or I have this. You're not really focusing on what it takes now to make sure you are executing. So when it comes to December, you're like, hey, I crushed it, or you know what, I missed it, but this is why. You have time to like adjust
and reevaluate.
Yeah.
So that's a 12-week year?
12-week year, yeah.
Do you do a book every month, or is that just something you put out there?
It's new. So we are doing a book a month now, just because I feel like there's a lot of value. I mean, I have great ideas, but I'm definitely not brilliant. And so for me, I need to like fulfill myself. Yeah. And, there's just, one of my biggest things I actually talked to one of my team agents about was, I think that I would like to find other teams to collaborate with and be like, hey, I know that your coaching style is different from mine, and you might connect to some of my team members, and I might connect to yours, and like collab a little bit, because I feel like, there's a lot of, I know what I know, but there's stuff that I need help with, and new ideas. And
we started doing a book a month at the beginning of COVID, when it, the March before this one, when we went through the first lockdown, because I said, we're going to need something to keep keep our focus in there and stay positive and everything else. So we started a book of the month. So we start out with a book of the month, you read the book. Then we added a summary to it. So this way here at the end of the month, we write a summary to ourselves, how we applied the book to our life and our business. But then we shifted, and on the summary now we have our agents, including ourselves, because we have to be accountable as well, is we post it up on social media as well.
Cool.
So we do that, so this way here you're sharing it with family, you're sharing it with friends. They're getting used to posting, because I feel it's very important in real estate. So it's getting them in that momentum. You wouldn't believe the kind of people that reach out when you do these. You got people that you just never would have thought, oh my God, I love that book. Hey, I want to refer you another book. And now you're making more relationships.
It goes full circle.
It is. It is. I mean, it just, you're not just sitting there and we post a lot of real estate, then we'll post a lot of personal. I do shifts of everything.
Me too.
And that's the thing, exactly.
You need both.
Yeah, you need to be humanistic, have that human side of it.
Some of, I feel like my best feedback has been, like, my kids are in my office is a disaster because everyone's drawing and all this is going on, and I post a picture of it, and then people are like, oh my gosh, it's real. Like, you know, you look at these, what do they call them, influencers, and everything's always perfect. They never post the behind the scenes where it's like, no, you don't always look like that.
Exactly.
And no, your house isn't always with perfect white countertops with flowers coming out of it. I know you got 4 kids, I got 4 kids. So sometimes showing like, hey, this is me and this is reality, it makes people realize you're not like this perfect.
You're a real person.
You're a real person.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times with real estate, the biggest thing that happened to me, I had a client, biggest referral partner, one of my first deals I ever closed, she listed her house with somebody else. She calls me because it's not selling. And I'm like, well, I can't actually speak to you because you've hired somebody else. And I said, look, I want to apologize to you because obviously I did something wrong in our relationship that you didn't hire me to sell your house to begin with. She goes, oh, no, that's not it. You're selling like $1 million houses. I didn't think you'd want to sell my 250 turd.
Yeah, we've heard that before.
And I was like, oh my gosh. I said, no. I said, I'll sell your turd out in
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
It's a beautiful turd.
It's beautiful, and it's you. I want to work with you.
That's
but
funny.
I just, and she was like embarrassed. She's like, oh, I didn't even think that you would consider. And I'm like, so that was a learning lesson to me. I need to do a better job with connecting with my clients and letting them know, like, reality is, yes, I sell $110,000, shack in Searchlight, don't go there. Or, I mean, we're versatile.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, I don't have a niche where I'm only selling $1 million houses. I'd love to do that, but I'm not. So we're...
Yeah, that does happen quite a bit with clients. You have to
does.
be careful how you're delivering that message.
Yeah.
Sure.
I've heard that story so many times since I've been in the business. How they took business elsewhere, like, oh, I didn't think you're above that now.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I've always kept everybody has asked us, where's our specialty at? And I'm like, well, we sell real estate.
Yeah, we never put ourselves in a box.
Yeah, never have put ourselves in a box.
I agree. And that seemed like with, I think, like the Valley, like we have a big enough team that, and I was born and raised in Las Vegas. I don't know if you knew that about me. And so like, I remember the city growing. I know every inch of the city, whether it was debate tournaments, going to high schools. And I'm like,
so you were born and raised in Vegas?
I was.
But you like the Midwest?
I do. So like my...
that's interesting.
I know. My family's are from farms in the middle of the Midwest. So I have Midwestern values. But I was raised in Sin Cities.
Really?
I know.
So you're like one of those bad cowgirls, huh?
I'm like, I can change a tire on the side of the road. I can drive a tractor.
Oh, that's so funny.
I have a barn in my backyard now.
I know.
Diversified.
There you go.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, like I can cook. I'm a good baker. Everyone's like, what? I'm like, yeah, come over. I like to host.
Really?
Oh,
Man,
yeah.
that sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah, I like to bake.
I'm down for one of these barn parties.
I know. You guys just be prepared to drive like 40 minutes that way.
Yeah, it's all part of it.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
So.
Man, that's super cool. That's awesome. Well, listen, it's been amazing having you. And before we leave, why don't you tell everybody how they can reach you? We got Carley Rae, the Rae Group over here, just doing an amazing job. And how would women out there looking to do something bigger, better, how they get a hold of you, learn about your Facebook groups and all the big moves you're making?
Sure. So Facebook, realtyragroup.com. Find me there. The Women Who Move, July 1st. So if you're seeing this after July 1st, look it up. It'll be an open page that you can add yourself to. Yeah, that's how you can find me. I'm easy to find.
Perfect.
Yeah,
you
but don't
that.
confuse me with Carley Rae Jepsen. It's just Carley Rae.
Yeah. If you can't find her on social media, there's a big barn 40 minutes that way. That's always a good way to find her as well.
Yeah, there's no like call me maybes. Just text me or Facebook me.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, thanks for coming on. Thanks for it was a great show. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time, everybody.